Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I am so excited to be back with all of you for another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff with our YouTube channel and our social media pages. That helps me, that helps the bands and the artists, just like Lamont here. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Check out for your clothing needs. So, Lamont Landers, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, just as we kind of alluded to earlier, I am just recharging from South by Southwest and the tour.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, a little over 2 weeks now. Your first experience at South by, tell the audience and tell our audience like what that city and what that festival meant to you over that week that you were there.
Man, it was really cool. We were extremely fatigued at that point. We had been gone for like 2.5 weeks up to that point, and we ended our last date of our tour of our regular tour was in Minneapolis. So we drove 17 hours from Minneapolis to Austin, and then like the day we got there, basically started hitting the pavement. But it was a remarkable experience, and I'm very glad and I feel very fortunate that I was able to participate. It was I've heard about it for since I've been playing music, so it's nice to finally be able to do it.
Yeah. So, born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama, your first single that you put out was in 2015, Love and Happiness, almost 10 years ago. Does that, when I say that, does that what does that mean to you?
Um, it it certainly feels like it, and also doesn't feel like it at the same time. It's kind of hard to comprehend that that much time has passed so quickly, but at the same time, a lot of living has been done in those close to 10 years.
So, what do you think, maybe from a songwriting perspective, what do you feel like you've learned in those 10 years?
Oh man, not to be vague or anything, but everything and nothing all at the same time. Um, I'm I'm a completely different person than I was at 22 or 23, and you just learn how to be a human being, and you take it day by day. Song wise, a lot of my instincts are still the same, but just the process has been refined, and I know more what not to do than what to do, and I think that's kind of the motto I live by.
Yeah, it's probably a good motto to live by, especially in
Yeah,
this
man.
business, right?
Yeah.
So you released a self-titled EP, 6 songs in 2018, self-titled. Um,
Yes, sir.
Talk about that process, because obviously you just released singles up to that point. Why then? And, yeah, talk about that process.
Uh, to the best of my memory, because it's been 6 years now, which is
Yeah.
again wild to say, but to the best of my memory, it was just at the time it felt like the right thing to do. We had been putting out singles, um and I kind of just wanted a piece of work, like a a not a body of work, but just a thing that's more than just individual songs. So it just felt like the right thing to do at the time.
So let's talk about, so when did you start developing your obvious, really, really well talent at the looping machine?
Oh, that's kind of a newer development. And I love talking about looping. I think it's fascinating, and that was just over the last couple of years. You do a bunch of like I've done every kind of gig there is, like I mean every kind of gig there is, and so you do a bar gig or whatever, and nowadays just acoustic guitar and singing doesn't really cut it. So to keep people's attention spans, you start looping, and I love it. I think it's so fun, and it's like really high risk, high reward type stuff because you've got one chance to get it right, and if you mess up, everybody's gonna know you messed up. And it's just fun to like, it's almost like recording a song in real time because you go back and you put the bass line down, you put the drums down, you put all these little extra embellishments on it. It's going to make it like a full production, which is cool. But to
Yeah,
answer your question succinctly, I started doing that a couple years ago just out of necessity.
yeah, that's so for our audience who didn't catch on our social media pages and our videos and stuff, we got to see you twice at South by. We got to see you at the Austin City Limits Radio. Um, they've done that forever, and it's kind of cool because it's kind of an interview format. You guys did two songs, correct? Full band, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
that's right. Yep.
Yep. And then we saw you then later that afternoon at a dress shop
Yeah,
on South Congress. I mean, that's South by for you. I mean, I've seen shows like in parking lots, I've seen them in flower shops, on roofs of buildings, you name it.
for
But yeah,
sure, man.
that's why I kind of asked about the looping because like it was just you solo on the porch of this dress shop. There's probably 30 of us there just in awe of the covers you did, first of all, but more importantly, like, we were seeing you like it was almost like a work in progress each song. Like it was so cool to see how you put it all together like that.
I think that is kind of the allure for people. Like the audience is like guessing like, oh, what song is this? Or like what is this gonna be? And then, like kind of along the way, almost like Clue, like what song is this? Like trying to figure it out. And then when it finally, comes to light what song it is, they're like, oh, they either got it or they don't. And either way, it's fun for the audience, I think.
Well, so what would you say is your favorite cover that you've performed that you do? Or do you
Oh,
have a
like
favorite?
for like the looping setup or in particular?
For looping or
Oh,
just
and
in general that you've played, live?
oh man, I don't know. That's kind of a hard question.
Yeah. Like picking your own
I
children, right?
yeah, well, or like picking out adopted children. They're not my songs, but I
Right.
certainly love them as if they were. But I don't know. I just have fun with it. I love being able to step into somebody else's work and put my own spin on it. It's a blast for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your song. So I want to talk about Devil in Disguise first off. That came out in 2018 as well, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot get over the fact that this song, you sound so much like Ben Harper and like a little bit of Lenny Kravitz. Have you ever gotten
Oh,
that
that's cool.
comparison?
I've gotten Lenny Kravitz before. And I've gotten Ben Harper. I've gotten them separately, but never together. So that's cool, man. I'm not the. I can't say that I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Harper. It's not that. It's I'm not as familiar with his music as I am like Lenny Kravitz. So I love Lenny Kravitz. So that's very cool.
Yeah, you definitely it is. It's like it's almost like they had a child and you were.
That's cool, man. I like that.
Oh, yeah, man. So the other song I want to talk about, obviously, is the song that really kind of turned me on to you was "Piece of Me." You released that October of last year. I mean, there are songs that you say like are simple, and that is like a beautiful thing. That song to me is so simplistic, but it's just gorgeous. And like for me, it is there a flute in that song?
Yeah, man, and I'm gonna be quite candid with you. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
even know this, but that tune is a cover. That's a cover
Oh,
of
is it?
yeah, man. It's this I mean, fantastic artist named Lady Ray, and she released that song 2 or 3 years ago, and I was obsessed with it. And
Oh, okay.
what I basically did was like I wanted to. Sometimes when I'm here at the house, and I've done this with a number of tunes, that's the only one I've ever released is the piece of me. But if there's a song I really like, I'll try to like recreate it one for one, like every bit of the production, every bit of the instrumentation, and try to just nail it one for one. And that was one of the ones that I did. And my manager was like, "We should release this." And I was like, "Okay, cool." It'd been sitting on my hard drive for like 2 years at that point. So, but yeah, I love that tune, man. And it is there is a flute in it. You're absolutely right. I just yeah, I was a big fan of it, man. So I just want to take an honest stab at it.
So yeah, I'm not familiar with her. What's her body of work like?
She was like a big early 90s, mid 90s R&B artist, and like in the vein of like, she worked with Missy Elliott and stuff like that. More like straight ahead R&B. And then um, some time went by. She kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but she lived her life and she was doing other things other than music. And then she got picked up um by Diamond Mine in New York City. I can't, the label is escaping me. I know that's the studio, but
Okay.
anyways, this a lot of the same players that worked on the Amy Winehouse record and all that, and they got with her and she put out an album. It's awesome.
I am very lucky that I got to see Amy Winehouse live before she passed away.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing, man.
dude, she was absolutely incredible. She had like a 8 or 10 piece band behind her. We saw her at Lollapalooza.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing, man.
yeah, I just yeah, and I think that was I want to say less than a year after she passed away that we saw her. So yeah, the timing was good to see, another artist that just way too soon. But
Yep.
yeah. So the other song I want to talk about is Into the Fold. I think that is my favorite song
Oh,
of
thank you.
yours. It has a warmth to it, the groove I love, and like again, an artist that you sound like, and I'm sure you might have gotten this before. Are you familiar with the band Blues Traveler?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure.
The lead singer John Popper. You sound so much like him on this song, Into the Fold.
Oh, that's cool, man. I've never gotten John Popper
It
ever,
is
but that
very eerie.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his voice, man. So that's very
Heck yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a little nasally, but it's not like, it's very subtle, but it's so good, dude.
Oh man, the nasal thing is definitely a hallmark of mine.
So talk about like that Into the Fold song, how that came about, like what the inspiration behind that song was. I'm fascinated by that.
Man, I've talked about this at length with other people. It's like some people write songs with the melody in mind and then come up with chords around it. Some people come up with chords and then write a melody to that. Sometimes it's a perfect marriage of both, and you got both at the same time. That's just divine inspiration. That tune was it just kind of like it's cliche, but it flowed out of me, man. It's and I mean the lyrics are kind of nonsensical. If you really listen to them, but they just sounded cool. So that's I don't know. That a lot of times that's what I'll rock with more than like having some deep overt meaning. It's like I'll say some stuff that maybe only makes sense to me and I can interpret, but then hopefully other people dig it. But that's kind of one of those ones.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, the music I had the guitar riff first, and I don't know, just kind of went from there.
are you more of a music first then lyrics, or are you more of a lyrics first then music?
Typically music first and then lyrics. Like it's a lot easier for me to envision what should be said or could be said if I have music rather than painting painting some chords around words to make it fit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think most artists and bands that I've interviewed, I feel like they usually do music first before lyrics, but it is fascinating. I think either way, how
No,
you
yeah, man.
approach the song. So you guys are well, are you and the full band then doing like the Tipatina shows? Are you bringing a full band, or is it just going to be solo, or how are you doing these shows this
It,
summer then?
it will be full band. Yeah.
Full band. Okay.
The Kinder Scott thing was kind of just like a one off. They the budget and the size of the venue kind of like dictated what the setup was going to be. So that's why I did the solo thing there. But typically, 99% of the time, I'm going to have a band with me. That's how I prefer to play.
And is it just session like musicians, or is this like
N-
your band?
No, man, these are my guys, man.
Okay.
I've been rocking with the bass player, Jaraven. I've been playing with him for almost a decade now. His cousin is the drummer, BJ Brandon Khan, and I've known BJ since he was like 19. I've known him for over a decade now. He's been playing with us 3 or 4 years now. And then the keys player that was with us, Pat, I've known and played with over the course of 7 or 8 years. Pat actually is the keys player that I had with me is actually my substitute keys player. He's like my B team. My main guy, Kevin Canada, is also in another band, and he couldn't be with us on that leg. But I've been playing with Kevin since for 12 years, 13 years since college. So all I have long standing relationships with all the musicians that I play with, and I cherish their friendship and their talent. And I would never go and just hire random people. It's just not my style. Some people do, and it works good for them. But for me, I gotta have people I know.
You're a relationship kind of guy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, my friend. And it's
no.
obviously worked out for you. So I want you to talk about if because I've only been to Birmingham and I've only been to a little bit part of Alabama just through driving through. Like if you're a real estate agent, I want like sell me on Huntsville, Alabama.
Well, Huntsville is the uh, was voted the number one city to live in America. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. It's rapidly growing. Lots of industry types moving in. Google has moved in. There's an FBI headquarters that's either been built or will be built very soon. Amazon has a footprint there. Of course, the space industry, NASA, and all that. Lots of very smart tech types are moving into Huntsville. And also, Huntsville has made it a big point, a big initiative over the last couple of years to promote music. So they're trying hard to be a music city, and have taken the steps to build the infrastructure to accomplish that goal. They've got plans such as the MAP program, I believe. I might be saying that wrong. I might have just made that up. I have no idea. But anyways, basically they offer grants to local musicians such as myself. So like when I went on tour this last, and when you saw me, they'll offer up to like $1,500, um, up to 4 times a year. So if you've got 4 different tours, as long as you have like tickets that are sold that can be bought, then they'll offer you this grant. So I think the city is it's wonderful, and they've been very good to me over the years.
Yeah. So talk about like the local music scene. Like are is it pretty welcoming to like local artists or is it more like cover bands and bands that roll into town?
It is. I believe there's a shift happening now that it's going to become more artist friendly and original friendly. The years that I've been there, I mean, it's more or less you do covers to survive. Like original music's not gonna really make you any money or cut it. I mean, that could be said for a lot of cities, but there's not necessarily a big original music scene in Huntsville. But I think they're trying to change that. For the most part, over the last decade or so, it's been cover bands, and I've been a huge part of that. I've done cover gigs to pay my bills for the last 10 years. I'm just now transitioning out of that, so I understand better than anybody the difficulty
Right.
in changing that mindset.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a pervasive problem, and I think it was made a lot worse during the pandemic because a lot of those places shut down, and
Right.
just open. So how did you get through the pandemic? Were you still releasing music? Did
Oh,
you
I wasted so much time. I like in hindsight, yeah, I wouldn't want another pandemic to happen that would kill anybody. But if we could go back in time and I could redo it again, I certainly would make better use of my time. I squandered it, honestly. I squandered my time, and you know, it, yeah. And I feel like a lot of people can say the same thing. It's kind of hard to be productive in the middle of a pandemic, but I had just gotten divorced, and it was like a perfect storm of just woe is me, and so I just kind of hunkered down and did a whole lot of nothing, to be quite honest.
yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. I think your story is probably amongst many during the pandemic that's what happened. So you've obviously been to New Orleans before through touring. that's one of my favorite cities in the country. What is it about New Orleans that's special to you?
Oh man, it's funky. It's like uh it's just got a thing. It's like it's hard to describe. It's beautiful and dirty at the same time. It's like all these juxtapositions of things. Like it's old and it's got this new feeling too. It's just like I can't describe it, man, better than anybody else could. It's just I love New Orleans. It's the musicians there are first class, and everybody's very welcoming with open arms as a musician down there.
I think it's a city of resilient people, man. Like that's
I
like
agree.
those people have gone through so much. I mean, and most of it was not their fault, and it's just
Oh,
so I
100%.
feel like that's a huge part of it. Like I think they just have this kind of us against the world mentality.
For sure,
And it
man.
brings out the best in a lot of them. So Tipitina's, the venue that you are going to be opening up for St. Paul and the Broken Bones, and have you opened up for them before?
Yeah, we just did
I
three
thought so.
dates with the yeah, we did three
Yeah.
dates with those guys. We did Chattanooga, Nashville, and then Birmingham, and it was a blast, man.
Yeah, those guys, they are talented musicians, and they're how many people in that band?
Oh God, at least 7 or 8, if I had to
Yeah,
guess. Yeah, kind of
that's
a bigger squad.
yeah. Well, like the owners of Tipitina's Galactic, they'll appreciate a band like that.
For sure. For sure.
So then we also have Shaky Knees in
Oh yeah.
Atlanta. I mean, dude, that's talk about like that's huge.
Man, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, man. All this stuff kind of starts snowballing, and you start picking up steam, and opportunities open up that have previously been closed off to you. And I'm just really excited. I'm super excited for Shaky Knees, and I'm super excited for the Pilgrimage Fest that we just picked up as well. It's really exciting times, and yeah, the way I describe what's going on right now, it's kind of like it's like a rocket ship that's coming off the landing, and it's either going to go up or it's going to come down. So I'm just hoping it keeps going up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, are there any artists or bands that you're looking forward to seeing
Oh man, I believe
at
Foo
Shaky?
Fighters is
Yeah.
at yeah, Foo Fighters is at the Shaky Knees. I'd love to see them. I've seen them before, and I just think Dave Grohl is a legend and an icon. He is like of the Paul McCartney ilk for my generation, and he's I don't know, he's just cool. And then Kingfish Ingram, Chris Kingfish Ingram, yeah, I want to see him. I'm a big blues guy, so I want to check him out.
Yeah, we got to see him open up for Buddy Guy at the Ryman
Oh, amazing, man.
Kingfish, and I mean, obviously Buddy Guy was amazing, but like Kingfish, man,
Yeah, he can
he's
play.
on his tail. He's
Yeah,
on his tail.
he can play, man.
Yeah, he sure can. So, so for your fans and for our audience, like, is there any new music on the horizon, or is there anything that we can look forward to?
Yes. That's about as much as I can say at the moment, but
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's good enough, and that's good enough for me. So, to get you out of here, I always ask this because you've toured now for a long enough time. You got to have a good tour story, either a venue or something that just a horror story or something that just you think about now and you're like, man, that still makes me laugh.
Man. Well, yeah. I've got a couple.
I got many.
But um yeah, I won't say the city. I'm not gonna say the city. I'm not
Yep.
gonna say the venue. I'm not gonna say anything that could give away the details of this. But there was, and this was a couple years ago, but there was just there's an opener that had and hey, I get it because I've been on the road. We all stink, but there was an opener that had some insane body odor, like the most insane body odor you might have ever smelled in your life. So much so that my keys player threw up, like literally went to the bathroom and threw up. And
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I mean, no, it's not serious. I mean, it's very It was funny, but it was crazy. That story as well as now this was on the recent tour. We stopped at Target somewhere and all the Targets. I don't know where you're out of, but in Alabama, Target is just it's got a parking lot. You just go park in the parking lot and you walk in the store. Well, some of these ones up in the Northeast is like they'll have like a parking garage. You'll go park in the garage and take an elevator up to the Target up on the main floor. And so we took the elevator up and we got trapped. We got trapped in the elevator for like 45 minutes. They had to get the fire department to come let us out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was freaking out, man.
Oh man, I would have been freaking out too. How many people were in the elevator?
It was us. It was the band. It was us four.
Oh,
It was
okay. Oh my
so
God.
yeah,
So nobody
yeah,
else was
but
with you.
nobody else was with us. But it was still like I got super claustrophobic and was really freaking out. And they could like the people could hear us from above. Like I called the employees and they were trying to sort it out. And I was like really letting them know. I was like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this claustrophobia and stuff. I was really hoping that they might like swing us some Target gift cards or something, like to mitigate like a potential lawsuit or something. But no, they didn't give us any gift cards.
Just an
Um,
apology, huh?
yeah, just an apology. Like glad you made it. But yeah, man. I mean, and there's tons of others too, but those are
Yeah.
the ones that are fresh in my mind.
That's good enough. Those are two good stories, my friend.
Yeah, man.
So, well, my friend, the best of luck to you for the rest of the tour. Like I said, I think I told Tom, I didn't tell you this. I'm actually going to be in New Orleans,
Oh,
the
sweet.
the 26th of April till the 30th. So
Dude, come out.
I know, well, tickets are sold out. So, but I said like, hey, even if we can hang out beforehand or whatever, after the show or something, like it would be
Let's
great
get
to
up.
connect with you down there, man.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. I will be there and either in a green room or doing nothing. So let's kick it. We can get
Yeah.
dinner or something.
Sounds good, my friend. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Lamont Landers. Catch him on tour this summer. He's got you have shows pretty much the entire month of June into the first week of July.
Right.
Obviously, the Tipatina shows at the end of this month. So, and then yeah, check him out on Spotify. Check out his music. You're fantastic, dude. Thank you for
Thank you,
doing
buddy.
this. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, check out our sponsors, RAR Outfitters, RAWR Outfitters.com. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all that fun stuff for our YouTube channel and our social media pages. And like always, I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.